Hello, Claude Tranchant. Welcome to Paso del Camino, a project about the Camino Santiago to the Camino. And it's really a pleasure for me to have you the opportunity to talk to you about this amazing thing that is the Camino that we both liked so much. And I cannot put in words how thankful I am for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much.
And I say thank you so much, Guilherme, because it's a pleasure to be able to such a young man who have done so many caminos. An old lady and a young man meet on Zoom. That's perfect.
That's the Camino, isn't it?
Yay! Camino family is
Do, do,
expanding.
do you know quickly story about my Caminos?
I get.
I was working 5 years ago. I was working in Barcelos. Barcelos is an important city where the Portuguese Camino passes, and I was working as a salesman. And that work wasn't for me. I didn't like it. There was a bad boss. Okay, things weren't good. Things weren't good. And even I, in my life, I wasn't in a place that I wasn't good. I was a very close-minded person. As it, I had a girlfriend in that time, but it's weak relationship. I had friends, but I didn't go out with them. Uh, I didn't go out very much from my house too, so I needed to open my horizons as per se. So working there. At the time, I know I know what it was the Camino, but in that time I really ride a bicycle a lot. In that time, I had some fellow companions that also had bicycle the Camino. I've done it the Camino in bicycle, but I didn't think about it. But actually, and this is true, I left my job in on the first stage of October. I left my job. In that day, I decided to talk to pilgrims. And the first pilgrims that I talked, it was a couple from Australia. Don't know from where, don't know their names. I can find it that, but I don't know. But that couple, talking to them changed my life because I decided to do the Camino, and that changed my life. You know what? It was awkward, but okay, doing the Camino on bicycle, it's difficult. It's not the same than walk. The first one I did it on bike, but the other ones I walked all the way. But I don't know. It was awkward because in that day I didn't. It was one of my first times abroad. I didn't know exactly many much about Spain. Uh, so in that day, in when I arrived in Santiago, I drive a bike. It was 4 stages from my Braga to Santiago. It was 4 stages, 4 days riding a bike. But do you know when I arrived in Santiago in that place in the Praça do Obradoiro, it was really awkward. I felt happy. I feel happy, but I didn't. Go cry all the way. But I in that day, I didn't know where to left my backpack. I didn't know where to left my bicycle. So I didn't go into the cathedral. I went for pick up the Compostela. I stay outside and then to the Alberg, but didn't go entering the cathedral. And the next day, also on bike back home. So either way, even if I was not able to go into the cathedral, the Camino had changed my life. Um, and after that, a few months later, everything changed. I didn't. When I realized that my life had changed, I decided to walk the Camino again, walk for the first time to say thank you to St. James and to the Camino. Um, uh, what the Camino has given me. So in that Camino, I made a promise. It was my first walking Camino. It was the hardest one physically. Uh, but in that day, I made a promise. In one of the days, I made a promise to St. James that at least I need to walk a Camino a year if I can. It's my promise to him. I'm religious. I'm Christian. I'm devoted to St. James. I'm not that much predicate, but I am. Um, and I made that promise to walk at least if I can one Camino a year. So until now, I have made that promise, but let's see what happens this year. So after that, there's a moment on my third Camino. It's a very magical moment. I will tell you later. And in that moment, I came to know that, and after this thing that happened, I need to do more to the Camino than just walk. So after that, when I decided to do more and started for being a volunteer. I am volunteer at an albergue on the Portuguese Camino, and it's amazing to be there. Not now because it's closed, but when it reopens, I'll be there again. And I live in Portugal, and as in Spain, in Portugal there are also some caminos. And in my hometown, the Portuguese Camino passes by, I don't know, 10 miles more or less from my house. And there are also not so known caminos, but there are officials that passes or starts here in my hometown. So I'm surrounded by caminos. And sometimes when I am not on the albergue as volunteer, I drive my car around the Camino to offering some water bottles, some fruits, some energetic bars, information if they want. It's my way to help the Camino and trying to pay back to the Camino something what the Camino and Saint James had given me all this year. So this so after that, in 2020, when the pandemic virus arrived to the world, I couldn't do this anymore. So, like I said to you before, I decided to walk the Camino. Even in the middle of the pandemic, I walked in August, and it was a very amazing experience. It was amazing. It's a Camino not well so known. That part that I walked, and but it was amazing. But just to walk it isn't enough for me. So that's why I decided to create Paso del Camino. It's a worldwide project for everyone in the world, for every program. It doesn't matter. Uh, it's like the Camino. It doesn't matter their ideologies, their religion. It doesn't matter if they. It doesn't matter anything. If they are pilgrims, if they walk the Camino, uh, this project it's for them. It's for everyone. Unfortunately, I can talk a bit English and Spanish and Portuguese, so uh, I can talk to all these people, and it's been so amazing to be able to talk and listen, mainly listen, not talk, listen to these so amazing stories, so amazing persons that live the Camino. You know, there's some issues on the Camino that some people struggle with, like the last 100 kilometers, or people on taxis or autobuses. But the most amazing thing of it, and a few months ago, I read an article of this good friend of mine in Spanish. Okay, are some problems that people face it, but the most amazing thing is, okay, the people that does this can do it for the first time, but then the Camino we'll teach them, we'll help them. They will be so in love with Camino that next year or 2 years before, they will come back and do it 2 weeks, and next year they can do it in a month, or it's a magic of the Camino. And for me, be able to have this project and talking to so amazing people, it's just so much. I cannot say how thankful I am to everything, to God, to St. James, to the Camino, to have the opportunity to talk to you, for example.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's start.
Okay,
So
okay.
in this small part of what is my Camino, my story on the Camino, you can find it my motivation to keep walking. Uh, what was your motivation to do the walk as being an Australian with 64 years old and travel to Europe?
At the time, that's 11 years ago.
Yes,
I'm going to be 75 next month.
but 10 years ago, with
11, yeah, okay.
more or less, being
Doesn't
able,
matter.
being Australian from the other side of the world, traveling to
Yes,
Europe alone.
yes,
What was
yeah.
your motivation to walk it?
Yes. So, first of all, William, I was not a walker. Well, after my marriage broke down,
Yeah,
so I was 58 and I had to look for work. And I became what we call here a checkout chick, meaning that you are there taking the money from people when they buy something, put it in a cash register, you know. So you're just behind the cash register,
yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
was in a fruit shop. And there I worked many years till my retirement age. And I met a lady who asked me if I could go with her in France and walk 240 kilometers because in France, from Le Puy-en-Velay, because she had problems with her feet. She could not walk properly. Therefore, she needed a companion in case something happened. And I was French, but I was not a walker. So when she said that to me, I said, "Oh my God." She asked if I could go with her for that space of time. And I said to her, "When would you like to do that?" And she said to me, "Oh, in a few years' time." Okay. I knew she would forget all about it. So I said, "All right," that was it. So that was the first seed I had. And then people in the shop used to come to me and say, "Claude, do you know what I've done?" "No, I've done the Camino." I said, "I can't believe it." Yeah, but I didn't say anything to them, I just keeping the thoughts for myself. And then I had to go to see my dad before his passing in France.
Yeah.
So I went back to France, and clever girl that I am, I said to my sister, she's the elder, she's older than me. "I'm going to walk. The Camino is 240K from Le Puy-en-Velay." And she had a good laugh because she knew that I was not a walker. She knew, she knew that it was longer than 240K. And so I shut up. I didn't say anything. Then the next morning, on a kitchen table, there was a magazine. Usually I don't read, what's going on because I live in Australia. But that day I looked, I had an impulse to open that magazine.
Yeah.
And just guess what there was in the center of the page.
The Camino.
Exactly right. In France, starting in France, because you have to cross France to
Yeah.
reach Spain. And I saw that it was not 240K. So I shut up, didn't say anything anymore. And when I was back in Australia, when I mentioned that to a friend of mine, and she said, "What do you want to do?" And I repeat again, I said, oh my God, it's like my sister. And it wasn't that at all. She had a friend here in Australia. Her parents had done it. And they were leaving Australia the next day. She rang a friend and said, are your mom and dad with you? And she said, yes. Can they speak to Claude and explain everything? And they said, yes. So I spoke to them of old, so they explained to me, and they left from Visaly. Then all these coincidences, I start to listen to the signposts coming onto my life.
Yeah.
And I saw all these signposts. I said, Claude, you better listen. There is something for you to do. So I decided gradually to do it on my 64th birthday. And I decided to start it from Visaly. And I did that on my 64th birthday on the 4th of April. That's why I'm going to be 75 next month.
That's really amazing. So
and I was going to do it again this year at 75 from Vézelay, and I was hoping to reach Muxia as well in one go, because we live so far away. We can't come for a week or 2 weeks. It's impossible. So I was planning to do all of it again to help, because when I walked for the first time, I discovered I had feet. I didn't know I had feet before. Because when you walk days in, days out, you put a lot of pressure on your feet, and your feet hurts. So when I came back, I had so much pain in my feet that I went to see a podiatrist who was looking after the homeless. He was very young, just like you, and he was giving 2 nights every week to look after the feet of the homeless. So it is in 2010 that I decided to do that. But God doesn't want me to go in 2021. So let's say it in 2022. So that's when I started. And I was not a walker. I took a backpack, and it took me 8 weeks to cross France. I did not meet one single pilgrim for over 300 kilometers, because that path is not walked a lot. I got lost every day because I'm very bad with direction. I got lost in forest, in countryside, anywhere you think of. I got lost every single day. And I learned a lot. You know what happened when you walk alone? If you have done a Camino Inferno, you should know that, I presume.
Yeah.
You are facing yourself every single day, emotionally and physically. I was 64. My life was longer than yours. Well, you're at your age now. I had more in my basket than you have. And it was a blessing for me to have all this time by myself, though I did not like it so much, is to discover the real me and to leave my burden on a side of the road, the path. Yeah, because it is an amazing journey, the Camino. The Camino is not only for you, it's for others. And having all that time by myself, I had free time for others. You know what happened? I do a lot of volunteering in palliative care, end of life, and in cancer ward in Australia.
Yeah.
I've done that for 14, 15 years. And I can connect with people. When I arrived in Santiago, no, sorry, I beg your pardon, in Vézelay, I was looking the cathedral there when a lady stopped me. She talked to me. I did not understand what she was saying. She was speaking a language that I did not know. But I let her speak because I felt she was suffering. At one stage, while she was talking, she put her two hands above her heart, and then she was doing like she was pulling her heart out. And she deposited on my heart. I took her in my arm. She cried on my shoulder. After that, she left. And I said, I don't understand what she has said, but I know she's suffering. And I'm going to carry her pain to Santiago.
That's really amazing.
The next morning, a lady approached me, another lady. We had the benediction. It was my birthday, the benediction, of the pilgrim. And we were three, and two were doing only 100 or something kilometers, no more, some less. And I was the only one who had planned to go to Santiago. And I went further afterwards, but that's another story. And the lady came to me and said, "Could you hug me? I've seen you hugging the lady yesterday." And she came early in the morning. We had the at the old, it's so early in the morning. And I said, "Yes, I will." Because she was French, she told me what was her problem. And I said, "I'll carry you in my heart. I'll carry you to Santiago." So that was two blessings I received at the beginning of my journey. So when I started to meet pilgrims, not very many in France, because it took me 8 weeks to cross France. And I didn't meet, maybe I didn't count them at the time, I didn't really know, maybe 20, 30 max over, 8 weeks. But they all carried a burden, and I became their listening ears. So that's why God gave me this more than 300 kilometers to be by myself, to learn to let go. So my heart will be bigger and will be more open to others. So I could help just by listening to their story. And I met a lot of men. In France, I met 2 women only. Otherwise, they were men. And men, maybe not because you're so young, you are a different generation. But my generation, men have created a barrier, a huge wall.
Yeah.
It's a big fortress there, and nobody can go there. But as they walk, days in, days out, days in, days out, suddenly it came to a moment where their heart crashed and happened to be there for them. I never betrayed them. Never. It was a communication between that person and myself and God. That's all. I never betrayed them. And I felt so empowered to be able to help others on a very simple way, listening with my heart. That's all. I would say things what came in my mind at the time, and that was it. That's the only thing I did. I may see them again, I may not. I didn't know at the time. So when I arrived at Saint-Jean-de-Pied-de-Port, I climbed the Pyrenees, and it was different because there were so many people, so many pilgrims, After walking 8 weeks, and I was full of fear. Trust me, I went through a lot of fears,
Yeah.
Because tell me, when you get lost in the middle of a forest and you have no connection, there was, in those days, we had a little Nokia, and you could only send messages and ring if you're lucky, if there was any connection. That was it. There was nothing else. And I learned to believe in myself. Though I got lost every day, but I learned to trust myself and to trust others. And that was very difficult things for me in my life because I've been betrayed many times. But I learned to overcome that. By getting lost, I learned because I find my way, strangely enough, walking more kilometers than it was necessary. Yes, many more, but I always find my way. So I felt I was protected. And people were worried for me. When I was coming down to France, they said, "What are you doing walking by yourself with a big backpack?" You see, they could see my white hair.
Yeah.
I already had white hair. And I said, "Well, I'm walking the St. James Way." Some didn't know what it was. And some knew, but some didn't. And I said, "And you do that by yourself?" "Yes." "Aren't you afraid?" "No." "How can you not be afraid?" "I don't know. I'm not afraid. I'm just full of trust. I'm trusting. I'll be okay."
That's just
And they were
amazing.
fearful for me. Everybody was fearful, and I wasn't. I was a little girl of 16 years old in my mind.
So, Claude, looking back now, and today looking back, why the Camino is so important to you now in your life?
Because I discovered the real me. When I arrived in San Diego, I couldn't believe what happened. A lady that I met 550 kilometers in Atapurca, that was in Spain, remembered me and called me. I met her 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. Then when I arrived coming down to the cathedral, the bells start to sing. I said, "Oh, that's a nice welcome." And when I arrived on the square, some of the pilgrims I met that I listened to their story were there waiting for me, clapping. "Welcome, girl. You have helped me. You have helped me so much. You changed my Camino." And I was baffled because I didn't remember what I said. I was just there listening to their story, to their pain that they have hidden in that big forest they had.
Yeah.
The forest they had?
Yeah.
The fortress they had, they have hidden it. But because they walk days in, days out, there was a little fissure starting, and the water started to break the big wall. And I arrived at that time where there was a flood of water. I was so blessed. And then when I arrived in Santiago, I came to walking to Finisterre and Muxia, where I finished 100 days later. I went through a lot of pain, physical, emotional, but it was the best things I could have done in my life, except giving birth to my children. Okay.
Yeah. So, hard question now. This is hard.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
hard question. So,
Mhm.
imagine that we could turn back time and go back, and you could go back to your best moment on the Camino. Which moment you
My
choose?
best moment. Yeah. You know, probably when I arrived in Santiago was a magical. But there are so many good moments. All these meetings I had with these people were magical to me. And then when I arrived in Santiago, it was bigger, obviously. But I would say the best thing, it all depends what we call best.
Yeah.
But when I arrived in Murcia, my body said I couldn't work I couldn't walk anymore. And I went close to the ocean and the wave over there. I don't know if you've been to Murcia. Have you been to Murcia?
Not walking, but yes,
No.
but
Okay.
yes, I went there. Not walking.
Yes. So you know how the waves crash
Yeah.
against on the shore with such a fierce, such a power. So I was there and I had to make a decision if I was coming back or not, because I did not want to leave the Camino. I did not want to leave it, but my body said, no more, Claude, 100 days walking, forget about it now. It's time you stop. And so I went to Mount Copino and I had something to do. Because if I did not do what I'm going to tell you, I would have walked 100 days for nothing. I had to go at the top of Mount Campino and forgive myself and others for all the pain I had during my lifetime. And that's not easy to forgive, because I'm not talking superficially. I'm talking on a very profound level to forgive. So I had got over heart and I put it at the top of my. Why? I put it under a little bush covered it's gone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because they put a message.
Yeah.
So okay,
Don't
you
worry.
can cut that anyway. So I put this little stone in the shape of a heart that I collected. And because I want to protect my heart away, I did not want to be hurt anymore. Okay, so I did that. And I think that was a very powerful moment for me, because I was forgiving myself and others. So that could be as well a magical time. Yeah. My arrival in Santiago was magical. My meeting were magical, so whichever meeting it was. And the fact that I could meet anybody, and I did not care if he was Buddhist, atheist, agnostic, whatever religion, whatever color, I did not care, and I never cared before. So, they could have done anything. They could have been rich and poor. So what? We are all the same. And that community to be one as one.
They're really amazing. Yeah.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful. So when I came back, I was very sad. I cried for 3 months. I walked 3 months and I cried for 3 months.
I
It was
guess,
my re-entering the world was difficult,
yeah.
very difficult.
It, I can relate to that because even like me, I just walked. The most days walked was 2 weeks, 16 days, and just about 16 days, it's really hard to go back to our normal life, to our daily life,
It is
and
hard.
and for you, like being 3 months out, it's harder.
It was so hard. It was so hard, Guillaume. It was so very hard. And nobody can understand you. That's a
No,
problem.
no, no, they don't.
It's impossible.
Do you know that
And because
there's this quote, quickly. There's this quote that it's like very cliche, but it's the truth. Do you know? It's like uh, you can't explain the Camino. You have to feel it.
exactly right. You have to live it, to feel it. It is, you can't, nobody, I mean, a pilgrim can understand what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but somebody external to that, they could say, but you can walk here. No, that's different. You know, you put your steps on the road. Millions of pilgrims over the ages have walked it, and all this energy come onto you. And you know what? People lose who they are. They are not Mr. So and so or Mrs. So and so. They're just a human being. And that's so beautiful. And that's what touched me so much.
It's just amazing, just amazing.
And it's very hard to find that in our world. As much as we can, we try to do it. I try to behave the same way here that I behave on my Camino, but it's difficult. People are not always open to you. So what happened is, how did I heal? How did I heal over 3 months? A friend of mine told me to write about it.
Yeah.
And I was not a writer, so I said, you're completely mad. I said to her, you're completely mad. And I was going to write in English, which is my second language. And she said to me, Claude, I know you for many years, and I know how you think, I know you write, and you will help others through your words. And I was done. How can I help? So is what I did.
Actually, that is my next question.
Sorry, Gabriel.
So
So,
can you tell us about Boots to Bliss and Boots to Freedom,
okay.
please?
Yeah. So Butsugli is all about my journey, personal, emotional, and physical, and as well my meeting with the pilgrim, but never betraying them. And I was so blessed that people would would get close to me just by speaking and be honest with me and telling me such a such a beautiful, such a beautiful life I had there. It's so powerful. So I talk honestly about what happened, my growth, my difficulties, because I met a lot of difficulties, physical. And yes, I touch people, like my friend told me, which is such a beautiful blessing I'm receiving.
It's
And
really
every single day. So it's my difficulties, my thoughts about the world, my thoughts about the world, my thoughts about myself, the mistakes we are doing, in this world. And funny enough, when I see what's going on now, I didn't know at the time, but I did say, I hope something happens so we can change our world. Oh, dear me. So people become more human, more loving to each other.
That's really amazing.
And I think this is coming now. People are seeing differently. So we need a shake-up to open our heart. We all need that.
Definitely.
So that's the story. And Boots to Freedom that I've got here in the front is because I got the bug. Do you know what the meaning of the bug is? I needed to walk and walk.
Yeah.
So at 68, I went in the center of Australia to find myself again, because Boots to Bliss took me a little bit everywhere, and I wanted to find the little Claude. So, and then something happened, and I saw later on, I saw section 11 and 12. I said, what is that? And they told me it was a Lara Pinta trail. So I said, well, Lara Pinta will see me at 70. And then my daughter told me about a trail in Nepal at 71. I had no intention to go, and I went. So there I reached 3,210 meters. Then at 72, I was approached by a gentleman called Fergus, Grady, and Nick Noel Smith afterwards. And they asked me if I could be part of the documentary, The Camino Skies. I had no intention of doing it because, as I told you, what I wanted to do for my 75th birthday. But anyway, we talk, and I said, okay, I'll do it to help you. And so that's what happened. So Good Story released it about that, about, I discovered along these walks that I thought I had resolved everything along the St. James Way about my personal life. And I discovered that was not quite true. So that's why I call it Boots to Freedom, because now I'm totally free.
That's really amazing. That's really amazing. So hard question. So even I don't know. Maybe I can. But for you it's even harder, I guess. Let's go back. Imagine that that our lives, we are living in a loop. So you have to do you have to live the same day every day, okay? And actually, when this happens, you are walking the Camino. So you have to do the same stage every day. Which stage you choose?
So what do you mean by it? Sorry, I didn't pick it properly.
So, what stage you choose for walking every day?
You mean here or on the Camino?
On the Camino.
Well, I told you, I was going to redo it from Vézelay to Smuxia at 75. And I'm going to do that at 76. If I can fly out of Australia, that's where I go. I want to redo it all. I want to relive it. You know, when I did the Camino for the documentary, I relive it as well. But I was with a group. I want to relive it by myself again.
Sorry.
So I'm going to, that's okay. So I will go back from Vézelay. I might take 100 to Muxia, might take 150 days, I don't know. But I don't know, I don't care. I want to do it again. I want to do it again. My heart is there. The Camino took my heart away. You know, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
You understand that because you've done it. So you understand that. It took my heart away. I have to go back.
So,
Max, which one is the best? You know, they're all special in their own way. Every section is different and special in their own way. You know, it's very difficult to just this one is better than the other one. For me, they had all a very specific memory, and it's very hard for me to decide and choose. Very, very hard. Very hard. I'm sorry.
but
I'm sorry.
I understand. I understand. Don't worry. I understand. So, I have a question right now.
Yeah.
Imagine that are you sitting down with one of your friends, and they won't know what is a Camino. How can you describe to the Camino to a person who never walked?
I will say to them that it's a walk like no other one. I will say to them, you've got to walk it with your heart wide open. I will say to them, live every moment to the fullest, every steps to the fullest. Listen to your heart. Listen to your mind. Let go of your burden. It's a specific place just for us to do that. Learn to grow, to accept the person you are with his fault, with his beauty. Just walk it a different way. Don't take any music in your ears. Listen to the nature. Listen to the birds. Don't be distracted. If you've got a phone with you when you walk or music on your ears, you don't do anything. You cannot do something. You have to do it only with nature.
Yeah.
And try to do it by yourself. The best way to be able to walk is and discover you and let go of your burden is to walk by yourself. Once you've done that, you meet people and you can open your heart as well. You can do both, but you need that time for yourself. And you find it there only because there is energy that you cannot find anywhere. The Camino is beautiful if you live it well. The Camino will let you free, and you will be able to live another world.
That's amazing.
And you will discover the real you. Isn't it beautiful, Gideon? You discover who you are, what you wanted in life.
It is amazing.
And you can walk in a forest around your house, and it's different. It's different. There is something special. I don't know if she St. James that is with us and allow us. We are so blessed to have that specific walk for us, for everyone. And to find peace at the end of our journey, marvelous, magical, beautiful. Finding freedom, incredible. That's what I would say to them.
That's
Walk
amazing.
it.
That's
Walk
amazing.
it. To me, that's what I would say.
So,
Got it, or that's okay.
yeah, I got
It's
it. I
their
got it.
choice.
It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
their
Mira, what advice, last question, what advice can you give to a pilgrim that will start the Camino for the first time?
A bit less, more or less what I just said.
Yeah.
Just live it to the fullest. Listen to your heart and make sure that you live it well. Because even if you have pain, you need pain. Life is not easy. You have pain through your life. But you know what? I can tell you, physical pain, emotional pain is hard to carry. But in the same times, it allows you to understand another human being. And that's, so let it happen. Try to forget about the physical pain. The hardest things you have to do is to go through your emotional pain. And if you can do that, you will be as free as a bird. Don't forget.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Claude, we are already finishing here, but I want to ask for one more thing. Please leave a quote about the Camino.
Pardon? I'm sorry.
Leave a quote. Tell us one sentence, one quote that where shows the Camino is everything to you, please.
Why the Camino is everything for me? Because I love it.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I love it. I love it because the Camino has allowed me to discover the real Claude. You know, it's amazing. I discover that I was strong. I discover that life was there in front of me to embrace with all my heart. I knew that I will still meet challenges. I knew that. That's part of life. But I knew as well I could resolve it. I was stronger to resolve everything if I had bad things happening to me. I knew that I would be strong enough. And it's so, it's incredible. For me, it freed me. Can you imagine to be free?
Yeah.
Can you imagine to be free?
That's amazing.
That's what the Camino brought me. How can I not love it? I had to.
Yeah. So
the Camino took me in his heart, and that's it. And I am a prisoner now.
So Claude, we are already finishing here. Thank you so much for this. It was really special.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was awesome. I cannot describe it. How I feel so happy for being able to listen to you. Thank you so much.
And thank you for to be kind and ask me for it. And who knows, if I can fly out of Australia next year, we might meet.
Yeah, in Santiago.
Hey, you're living down around there.
I live 200 kilometers from Santiago.
Oh, well, so you have to make the effort and come and welcome me.
Yeah. Thank you.